All right, let's go live, kids. Haven't done a live in a couple days. See who all stacks up in the chat. I didn't see Crump and Rich and everybody going live, so I figured, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and go live for a little while. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Give me a minute to take care of a couple of things and see whether I can find a couple of videos I wanted to look at. Just gotta see where in the world I shoved them. I thought I had him saved in one place, and now I'm looking and I don't see him there. God, I don't want to have to cycle all the way through my history to find these videos. I don't see why these aren't showing. So give me a sec, guys. Let me unscrew some stuff here. Like I said, I thought I had some stuff saved. Now I'm having to go in and dig it back up. How is this not in that list? Oh, good Lord. That was yesterday. That was yesterday. All right, this has got to be. This has got to be. I think. Hope. Let me open up a couple of videos because I didn't download them. I just had them saved in one of my lists. So what is up? Oscar Mike, what's happening, my brother? Check out Langley. Yeah. He did a good piece on Brandon. I watched a couple of his things last little bit. VSO Gun Channel had some good stuff on Brandon too. Which I think I've said on streams before. Hell, I donated to Brandon. I was hoping to God he'd win. But when it came down to it, and that's part of what we're going to talk about here in a minute, is the deep state ass Republicans, the Republicans, as I put it in there. But they don't want anybody, actually changing things up and stepping on their power and actually pointing things in the right direction. So now we're talking about, Brandon's run for Congress, Sam, and basically the Republican Party, the body of the Republican Party, threw all of their money at the incumbent, Tony, who is an absolute moron, statist. They threw all their money at him to keep him in office, and they weren't about to let Brandon come in there and start shaking up the apple cart. Yeah, the Uniparty, and that's exactly what it is. You had, who is it, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and a bunch of other big name time Republicans go down there and actually campaign for Tony Gonzalez and his piece of shithole crew. And you had Brandon down there actually trying to fight, man, and trying to get into a position where they could actually do something with the party and get it back to where it needs to be. But no, they had to completely just screw that. So Thank you, Republicans, for once again screwing us and leaving in a absolute rhino, because they're so much fun. So that's the first thing we're going to touch on. The second thing we're going to hit, I am more than likely going to, well, I know I'm going to, I just don't know when exactly I'm going to do it. I'm going to shut down YouTube and go straight out Rumble, because there are some things back here I want to be able to touch while we go through this video. Yeah, I very much want to be able to actually handle things versus just being stuck on YouTube. Nah, Brandon's not a statist, Sam. No, not by a long shot. You might disagree with him on some things. I don't know what you disagree with him on, but no, he's definitely not a statist. Did he support Trump? Yeah, he supported Trump a lot. That's his gig. But is he a statist? No. You want to talk about statist? Buddy Tony Gonzalez is definitely a statist. He's one of these losers that signed on to the gun control Democrats were pushing, and we got to work across the aisle with Democrats and all this other horse shit. The only thing you agree and love on is AKs, yeah. But I don't know. I've watched some pretty in-depth stuff with Brandon that, no, definitely not statist. Opinionated in a lot of cases, but fuck. So am I. I don't mind people having opinions, but he's definitely not the one who would be pushing for the government to just take control of everything. But and in the first little bit, I think there's at least two videos I wanted to hit from, I think once from PBS, once from CNN, that's actually talking about Brandon and him challenging Tony Gonzalez. In one of the videos, they bring in one of the biggest rhinos that I've ever seen in my life, to basically trash the Republican Party and their choices on trying to get some things done. Well, not necessarily trashing the Republican Party, trashing people who are not statists who want to come in and shake things up in the Republican Party. And it was kind of interesting to watch. I'd stayed out of some of it for a little bit, and just kind of tripped across some of the stuff the other day. And hopefully should be at a time where my connection's pretty leveled out. Like I said, I didn't see too much else going on, so I just decided to run this spur of the moment. So hopefully everything hangs in there cool. But let me see. Now I've got this pulled up. So this one was 3 days ago, and this other one was 22 hours ago. All right, so we're going to watch the one from 3 days ago first. And I believe this was before they found out that Tony Gonzalez slipped by with like 400 and something votes, or just over 400 votes around Brandon. So, yeah, lightning's always an uphill battle. These parties are going to throw their money behind people that will support their power. They're not about to throw money behind someone who would actually challenge their power, because there are a lot of Republicans that need to be absolutely challenged on shit. All these idiots that sign on the Safer Communities Act. No, we told you when you guys started, running your smokers about that it was going to get used against us. This wasn't just about a mental health component or something like that. They were going to run wild with it, just like Democrats always do when you actually agree to any little paper cut for their gun control death of 1,000 cuts. There was a little bit, Sam, where I was, when I first really got to learning about Brandon, I was unsure about some things, but I saw some pretty in-depth interviews with the cat, and he is way more towards us than he is about a whole lot of shit. I'll say that. Was he really vocal about supporting Trump? Yeah, he was. At least to a point in some of the things I saw. Was I a huge Trump supporter? No, I wasn't. But I damn sure wasn't voting for Hillary. So, at least with Trump, I had kind of an idea he would be better, and ultimately he was. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let me see. Let me do a screen share on this one. We're gonna share this up. Oh, he's a hoot to watch, man. I think, man, I want to say I started following Brandon. Hold on, which one is it? I think it's this one. I want to say I started watching Brandon, or really first started in 17, somewhere around there.
Hey everybody, I'm Ari from Accessibility.
But and the cool thing's been is, and it really is, with all the money that the state threw at Tony trying to keep his ass in office, it really is a pretty big accomplishment that Brandon chewed that lead down as far as he did. There's a lot to say for that. There's also a lot to say for a party that's supposed to be about rights and small government, who keeps someone like Tony in office and shuts Brandon out. There's a hell of a lot to say for that. Yeah, like $10 million they're throwing at this. $10 million thrown at that race, and there were, oh God, only so many thousand people even in that district. They throw $10 million at it to shut Brandon out. It shows you where the old guard GOP is, and they're a bunch of sleazeball motherfuckers. To be honest with everybody, it's I've gotten to the point, man. I really hate to even talk. Let me do this. I've gotten to the point where I really even hate to talk and say, well, I'm a Republican, because I'm really not when it comes down to it. To me, I'm kind of where the Libertarian Party should be, which is small government, protecting people's rights, no drag time story hour, no women in men in women's bathrooms, men and women, either way. But the big part of the Libertarian Party is nothing but disaffected Democrats at this point. Now, that's the big part. Are there some really good people in the Libertarian Party, Maj Touré and others? Yes. The whole Mises Caucus stuff, I haven't gotten too far into that, but there are some good people there. And I kind of did you guys hear about who the Libertarian Party put up for their presidential candidate this year? The guy who's completely fine with men and women's bathrooms, with transgender stuff, with drag time story hour, all that horse shit. That's who the Libertarian Party put up for their candidate this year. And this is a different side note than Brandon, but I almost think that one of the reasons they put that just moron up there is to push the body of the party towards Trump. Because the body of the party, the body of the Libertarian Party, they're not about that life. But again, you run into a party controlled by a bunch of absolute morons that are about that life. So anyway, let's watch a couple things about Brandon and his race real fast. So this, I believe, was before the vote, because the vote went, what, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, 28th. So this was just a little bit before it.
It's been 2 years since the horrific school shooting in Uvalde thrust Congressman Tony Gonzalez's sprawling Texas district into the national spotlight. His vote for the Bipartisan Gun Safety Act a month after the massacre is now at the center of his primary battle, where on Tuesday he'll compete in a runoff against gun activist Brandon Herrera. But the race is more than just politics.
Now notice the way they even frame this argument. Basically, Tony Gonzalez, the one we're willing to work across the aisle with Democrats for safer communities, and the gun activist. Okay, you can't even be honest about that shit. So what else do we expect from the rest of this? And trust me, it gets worse. Anybody who thought it wouldn't, well, yeah, it does.
Policy. It's also about the vicious battle for the Republican Party's identity and the norm-defying trend of House Republicans trying to oust their own colleagues. Herrera touts endorsements from Freedom Caucus Chairman Bob Good, Florida hardliner Matt Gaetz. I sat down with Congressman Gonzalez ahead of his Tuesday election. He says the outcome of his race will send a message to his party.
There's a lot at stake for the future of the Republican Party. Are we going to be the party that governs and gets things done in a conservative manner? Are we going to be the party that has gestures that come up here and say wild and crazy, outrageous things? And
No, I can't even get 40 seconds in this interview without wanting to just bash that guy in the face with a puppy. This is the easiest way I can say that. Understand, this guy is all about his political position. He's all about his power. He's all about protecting the Republicans' power. He is not about governing in a conservative way. Definitely not about protecting freedoms. He is about as swamp critter as you can possibly fucking get. And people in Texas, it's the same problem with a lot of places, freaking vote for these morons because they don't pay attention to what these idiots do. They go in there, they pull the lever. Yep, this dude, he's the incumbent. That's the Republican. They have no idea, in a lot of cases, what they're voting for. In Tony's case, I would be interested to know how that race was affected by Democrats actually voting for Tony. If they had to switch parties to vote for him, whether they just voted for him. I can't remember how their voting system works. In some places, you can only vote for the person who your registered party is. In other places, you can vote however you want. Which is, it is what it is. But the way they frame this, these extremists out here who actually want freedom and want less government, he's nothing more than a Democrat. And when you listen to him talk, that's all he is. How many true Republicans run to CNN to basically do campaign ads? And that's what this is. And I will submit to the class, that would be zero.
just try to burn the place down. That is what's at stake. Not only in this
I would
race,
like
but
to
you see
burn
other
it
races
all
across
the
the
way down.
country. This is only the first of many, right? Because there are other primaries going forward. You know, I plan to spend a lot of time in Pensacola. I plan to spend a lot of time in Virginia and some of these other places. So I think my race is only the beginning.
You're talking about Matt Gaetz and Bob Good going after them.
I'm talking about constituencies that I think have been forgotten.
It's also the 2-year anniversary of Uvalde. Of course, this is your district.
Sure.
This is
Of
you
course,
were
they
involved
frame
in
it as the
the effort to
guns.
pass gun
Safety.
legislation in the aftermath of it. It's also one of the reasons that's inspired this primary challenge against you. Do you regret that vote at all in any way?
What I've learned is this: you can do all the things that they want you to do, and it will never be enough. I will never bow down to these people. I will always do what I think is right. The Safer Community Act has prevented over 500 school shootings from occurring.
It hasn't.
My kids go to school with a bulletproof backpacks. It's unfair. They're growing up in a complete.
He is so full of shit right there. It's not even funny. Bipartisan Safe Communities Act with all these enhanced background checks for 18 to 20-year-olds. That's who he's counting as stopping school shooters. No, you're a fucking liar. Plain and simple. You can't have an honest argument about stuff. You're a piece of shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but it's going there because this just got even more frustrating. You haven't stopped 800 and something school shooters. You would be lucky if you stopped one. If you were honest, maybe you stopped one. You haven't stopped 800 and something school shooters. It's just factually crap. Trying to keep that a little on the level, but still, sorry guys, you know me. We have those days.
Completely different environment that you and I grew up in. Something has to change. I don't regret any of my votes.
And they were clamoring for action, your constituents were.
Oh, 1,000%. Manu, I was getting calls from people nonstop, and this was essentially the calls. Is Tony, you have to do something, but don't take my guns away. It increased the number of background checks for minors. I'm okay with that. I mean, crazy people, Manu, crazy people should not have access to guns, period, especially not to kill our children.
And one of the things
Oh, man. Is it just me, or does he sound like he's doing a fluff piece for Moms Demand Action? Because that's exactly what he sounds like. Because let's be honest, there aren't that many actual school shootings. Are there shootings that happen on school grounds? Yes. 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, domestic violence events, gang shootings. Yes. But when we're talking about an insane person, because no sane person goes in to kill innocent people. When you're talking about an insane person going on school grounds to kill other innocent people, that doesn't happen that often. At all. I don't. This is a bipartisan, safer communities. All it's done is allowed the government to be more weaponized against the people. The ATF is taking full advantage of it. Anywhere that they can stick their foot in something, they're sticking their foot in something. Don't believe me? Go ask Brian Malawowski, who got shot in the face in his own house. That was a statement that we have this power. We're going to fully use this power. And if you do things we don't like, we're going to shoot you in the face. And nothing will happen to them about it. Eagle Run, what's up, my brother? How's it going?
I've been looking at your ads is that you have criticized your opponent for not supporting the former president enough, not being sufficiently Trump. How important of it is that a driving issue in your race?
Some of these people that are running throughout the country, they're not MAGA folks. Bob Good, he's not a MAGA guy that's supporting my opponent, and some other people. They're not MAGA people, right? They're basically libertarians or anarchists, or they just want to see the place burned down.
You're not a MAGA guy either, though. I mean, you voted to certify the election.
I'm a governing conservative. That's how I view myself, right? If I'm a governing...
Dude, if you are the state of governing conservatives right now, yeah, I want the whole party burnt to the ground. I want it scrapped and just completely redone. If we weren't hung up in this absolute idiocy two-party system that we have, where you actually had educated voters, people who knew basically anything factual about the subjects, we wouldn't be here. No, Eagle, you're right. It doesn't speak well for overall. It really doesn't. It shows you that the Republican Party will absolutely circle the wagons to protect the old guard, and all they want in there is the old guard mindset. Give me a sec, Knight. I'll send you one. Matter of fact, let me play this and I'll send you one.
Conservative, and I'm going to find ways to govern. I voted against impeaching President Trump twice. I voted against Nancy Pelosi's January 6th commission. I mean, I've been very conservative in my votes, in my values.
Matt Gaetz and Bob Good, you call them scumbags. You still stand by that?
I think you more than anyone know the type of people that we are dealing with here in Washington. And some of them are scumbags. I mentioned a couple of them. There's probably a laundry list of folks.
This
You care to mention
numbnuts calling someone else a scumbag is an absolute joke. Now, remember, if you paid attention to anything with Brandon Herrera, this guy called Brandon Herrera Nazi, said he was doing Nazi propaganda, all this crazy horse shit. Basically making him out that he's a that's where it was going. He's a racist, whatever, gun nut, Nazi, is where Tony Gonzalez went with Brandon, of course, for the emotional attack, because he couldn't attack Brandon on actual policy. And that's when these absolute douchebags like this, it just becomes, and it's the reason, God, most good people don't want to go into this stuff, because all it is from idiots like Tony is, oh shit, I can't attack someone on the facts. I'm just going to throw mud and shit all day, and I'm going to throw it in the fan and see what sticks to somebody. Hey, that's why he wouldn't have a debate with Brandon. You think this guy would stand there and debate Brandon on actual policy? There's no way. But it really is the old guard just protecting their power. You know, they've got their hands full with Marjorie Greene, Matt Gaetz, Chip Roy, and a couple others. Massey's kind of off and on. I like Massey, but he's kind of off and on. You know, he's supported a couple of people up there that I really don't like. I think ought to be just well loaded into the biggest cannon we can find, and let's see what continent they land on, kind of people. Warsaw, what's up, my brother? Looks like they claim Trump was guilty of felonies. Did the jury actually come down with anything yet, or are they still deliberating? War. Speaking of that, let me do this. I don't know whether you're at work or not, but this was another one of these unplanned streams that I just have to do because stuff's on my brain. Send you that. So, oh, you're at work. Okay. Well, I sent you something just in case. Nice strike. What's up, my brother?
Not much, and stuff being on your brain is scary.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is absolutely terrifying, actually.
I did want to mention, I don't know if you've mentioned this, but he lost to him by something by like 400 votes.
Yes.
And it's in enough of a margin that if Brandon Herrera wanted to, I don't think he will, but if he wanted to, he could call for a recount.
Yes. And if I was Brandon, I would do it.
I would do it. I would too. Just to screw with him even more.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the votes end up meaning he got a couple more votes than they said he did, but it pisses Tony Gonzalez even more.
Eagle, are you kidding me? Guilty on all 34 counts?
That's what they're saying on Trump.
That's what the jury came back with. That's not just someone talking. That's what the jury came back with?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, that ended up about like we thought.
Most likely Trump is probably going to take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will side with him, and it gets swept under the rug.
I got no doubt about that. But this is also
but that whole case was election interference in itself.
Yes. This is also they can run around and call Trump a felon, a convicted felon, ahead of the election and try to make sure he can't run.
Actually, believe it or not, the Constitution doesn't say a felon can't run for president.
No. High crimes, misdemeanors, a couple other things, maybe sedition, something There's a couple of things in there, but RSBN saying guilty all 34 counts. Yeah,
This is
Oscar Mike, it
Yes.
absolutely is, brother.
Absolutely is. And they're doing this just to try and sway voters away from Trump.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this, but with the I hate to get on a political tangent, but this is important, okay? The shit that happened at the Libertarian convention over the weekend, basically, I don't know if you saw the cliff notes, but they elected the Democrat light, and
I was talking about that earlier,
and pretty much ostracized the entire party. And all the other presidential candidates that were running said, you know what, fuck it. You know, I was holding up a thing against Trump yesterday, but today, you know what, I'm voting for Trump.
I said it earlier in the stream. I wonder
all the real libertarians that didn't vote for Chase Oliver are going to vote for Trump now because they're pissed off that their party went and chose something that is against what most libertarians want.
Yes. That's why I said it earlier in the stream. I wonder, to a point, if that kind of wasn't planned to just shift the party to Trump. We're going to put up the dumbest, the most Democrat person we can find that, again, believes in drag time story hour, men and women's bathrooms, all that other horse shit that the Democrats believe. We're going to put him up there. And we're just going to shift this whole party into Trump's lap.
For like the last 8 to 11 years, the Libertarian Party has been like the Democrat light option. It's like, do you want, the Democrats are, per se, have always been the extreme socialist option or the Libertarian Democrat light option. Because, all the Green Party people decided to stop smoking pot, joined the Libertarian Party because the Libertarians were actually more popular than the Green Party was.
Yeah, I said it a little bit again earlier in this stream, and I've said it before. The Libertarian Party has a huge problem. That's basically, there are a bunch of disaffected Democrats who still believe in all the big state stuff, all the climate change stuff, whatever. They've just been kind of pissed off with their leadership, so they went, "Oh, I'm a libertarian now," and they've completely screwed that party.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The real libertarians are in the Republican Party.
It's where the true libertarians should be.
And before you say anything, the real libertarians are people like Ron Paul and his son Rand Paul.
Yes,
those are real libertarians. Those are real successful libertarians. They're in the Republican Party. They still believe in a lot of the core libertarian values, but in order to get elected and be on the ticket, they decided to be in the conservative Republican Party.
Yes.
And that's how real libertarians are if they actually want to put forth any change in this country. You can say you're a libertarian all you want and be part of the Libertarian Party, but you're never going to get elected to any position if you aren't a Republican or a Democrat.
You got to be part of the two parties.
I hate to say that. I hate to say that we're a two-party system, but we are, because one side or the other gets it. Never, seldom the independents get elected.
Yeah.
Seldom.
Technically, we are a single-party system because Republicans and Democrats,
they switch sides often.
Democrat light, and then the Democrats tend to be full-on socialist. And then we end up with a few people up there with actual common sense who want to govern and actually let people have freedom. But other than that, no, they are, what was the saying? Two wings of the same bird.
Yeah, I know.
That's it.
I know. It's just
Hey, what's up,
weird. Hey, M. Gabriel, Agorizer, how you guys doing? But it's just weird how things have gone so far for this election cycle. It's like,
it's gonna get crazier.
The real kicker will be what happens during the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, I'm not.
With the way things are, I don't see them not nominating Trump again. And if they do, they're going to ostracize the entire Republican Party. And I don't think the Republican Party is ready for that.
I haven't been looking as forward to the Republican.
I know it's just going to be a bunch
I
of
have
rah,
the
rah,
Democrat.
rah. Look at us. We're going to do this.
The
If we're
Democrat
elected.
convention. Oh my God! Anything I can live stream from that, it's going to be a complete clown show, and we are going to stream it.
Oh yeah.
And from what I understand, I heard.
Let me know when you do. I'll jump in.
He isn't even going to show up in person to it. At best, he might do like a video session, which makes sense. But I still fully expect the Democrat National Convention. I fully expect them to either replace Biden and Harris or replace Harris.
Yeah.
Because if they replace Harris and they get elected, Biden steps down quick, and then they put someone else in. They can't let Harris step up because no one likes the hoe.
And you know why no one likes her? Because unlike every vice president before her, she's done absolutely jack shit.
Dude, she's not a competent person. She can't do shit anyway. That's like she's the border czar.
And she's not gone to the border once.
Yeah. How's the border? Fuck me if I know.
The closest I got was San Antonio.
Shit. What's up, Mike McClure, my brother? What's happening?
Anyways, it's just the whole Brandon thing is like, I really hope Brandon does just go say, I want to recount, because that puts a halt to Gonzalez's whole victory dance that he's doing right now.
Oh yeah.
That would really make him
Yes,
sour.
I do, but not today.
See, and
Now, I also
you
reached
hear
out
the
to
way they
Brandon
do talk.
Herrera's
Oh, they're
campaign for
scumbags.
comment. He declined to make him available for an interview. My panel is back. President, you walk the halls with me every day.
Can
in
you
the
pause
Capitol.
this for a
You've
second?
seen this Republican conference
yeah.
devolve the way it has. What
What I wanted to mention about Gonzalez is, if he was such a great candidate, why did Everytown and Moms Demand Action support him when he got elected?
I asked that earlier. I wonder how many Moms Demand people voted for that dude.
That
could have been that whole 400 and something vote swing.
Who
Believe
knows?
it or not. And no, Warsaw, you're not wrong, dude. We're in this man.
We're in weird times, and they are not good times. But we're saying they're weird so that we don't get kicked off the air.
And yeah, you're right, Sam. She did. She kept innocent men on death row. She kept a lot of people who were supposed to be getting out of prison in prison way past their release dates. That's all documented. But then she'll go brag about she was smoking weed to Tupac when Tupac wasn't even on the scene yet.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Man, we are living in complete fucking clown world. And these idiots they bring up for this panel.
Up is down, left is
more
right. China's not the bad guy anymore.
How many light bulbs are there?
52
reference.
do you
No,
make about
42.
this race, the significance of Tuesday's race with Tony Gonzalez and this fight from the hard right?
It was a great interview.
It was a
I
great
think the
interview.
interesting thing, a couple of interesting things. Bob Good has his own primary challenger because of the exact same thing.
Except the opposite dynamic.
The opposite direction. The moderates are attacking Bob Good, who's attacking Gonzalez. I think Texas is fascinating. I think Gonzalez has a good point here. The Texas Republican Party is fighting over their platform, and they're talking about, biblical instruction in schools. They're talking about, just going further and further to the right, the party. They censured him. One of the things they censured him for was voting against the rules package. I mean, that was like, it was, I mean, if you read this,
So inside baseball.
it's kind of crazy. So now he has a huge monetary advantage, but this is the future of the party.
He has a
these
huge monetary
online
advantage.
social
'cause the
media
Republicans threw
personalities
that money
supporting
behind.
him. He's got Abbott supporting him. Mike
that's
Johnson,
another
Mike
mention.
Johnson is supporting Gonzalez. I mean, it's kind of the establishment versus.
I'm wondering this.
Gonzalez outspent Brandon by 9-1.
Oh, at least 9-1.
Well, that's what the news sources are saying. 9-1.
I know. If they tell you it's 9-1, it's probably closer to 12-1.
But you also have to look at who are the people that generously donated to Gonzalez's campaign, and at that,
wow.
I honestly would scrutinize the money his campaign got to make sure it was all legal.
I will bet you money there was George Soros money
Well, obviously,
donated to that dude. I will bet my ass.
you bet your sweet little ass.
I do have a cute little ass. So I'm just saying, I'd bet it because again,
Yeah.
look at who this dude is. Look how he sits around. He trashes people who actually want to stand up for people's rights and things of that nature and actually want freedom and smaller government. Tony trashes the shit out of them.
Yeah. And the other thing, the fat electrician, you know him on YouTube. He was every time Tony Gonzalez's campaign and Tony Gonzalez said something on Twitter, to attack Brandon, the fat electrician got moderator status on Twitter to go in and totally moderate everything Gonzalez said.
Oh, there were community notes. There was all kinds of stuff.
Because Gonzalez was using the smear tactic to just take everything Brandon said out of context and vilify him, which is the same thing Democrats do to Republicans all the fucking time.
Here, I'll open it up. Yeah, you can jump in, Sam, if you want. I couldn't kick up your email real fast, so I just put it in the chat. But anybody wants to jump in, because we're gonna look at this as my connection goes fucking stupid again. But we're gonna look at this. And then there's a whole freaking hour-long video from New York about ghost guns that we're gonna look at.
Oh, did you also hear the more rumblings that we may get the bump stocks back?
I do believe we're gonna. I'm pretty.
If it does, Night Strike Gun Works. Okay, I'm gonna start making bump stocks if they're legal again.
I seriously think it's gonna be a 6-3 kind of decision.
I will start my 3D printers. I'm gonna start making bump stocks once they're legal again.
Yeah, I think I think it's going to come down to a 6-3. I would be amazed if it was a 5-4 decision, just because they're mainly the Chief Justice that I don't trust any more than I do a wet fart.
It most likely will be a 5-4 decision, but it probably be in our favor.
Well, let's put it. How about we throw a $2 bet on it? I'm saying 6-3. You got 5-4.
I don't want to bet any money. Why don't we just make it just a gentleman's bet?
Oh, we can definitely make it a gentleman's bet. But I'm thinking 5-4.
You think 5-4? I'm
6-3.
I'm thinking 5-4, but still in our favor.
Hold on, we just completely switched our numbers up.
I'm 5-4. You're 6-3.
I wish I was 6-3.
Well, oh, damn it, Coop.
Well, anyway, what's up, Sam? Welcome to the fucking shit show.
Hold on, let me send your wife more pictures of my wood.
Oh, hold on, I'm getting UPS notifications.
So do I.
That could be my set me.
You bought a kit, huh?
You damn right I did.
You may have to straighten out that cocking tube if it's bent like that, though.
Oh well, you know me, I can play with cock.
Yes, we know. We've heard you're an expert. Yes, I got one.
I could have so pulled that off without laughing, but I heard you giggle and it just threw the whole thing off. So yeah, I got the set me, got the receiver. All that should be on the way. That's RTG gun parts, so that's the receiver.
Yeah, you're gonna need to get a receiver. You're gonna fold bend one after 3D printing out the mandrel, or you can buy a receiver too.
I have your files for the whole weld jig and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing some printing. I gotta clean the printer up and start.
You
getting
are
that
going to
shit
have to get
running.
a barrel though. So you can probably,
yeah.
there's two places you can get semi barrels all day long. Apex sells them. And then if you can't get them at Apex, Sarco also sells them.
Apex is awesome.
Oh, dude, I love me some Apex, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My
Me
set
and Apex have a
lead kit
long
came from an Apex Christmas sale, $99.
Nice. You know, I just heard they found Trump guilty, and they're running a lot of this probation talk, and they're talking about how they're thinking probation is the most likely, and he'd have to clear. Like, I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to put him on probation so his PO can deny him the ability to travel and campaign.
Yeah, they could do that, but but the thing is, in the digital age, you know what he could do.
Oh yeah, he can campaign online.
He can teleconference, or hell, he can host. They can still have Trump rallies, and he could just have cameras there so he can see him, and then cameras on him at where he's at, and he can just do it teleconferencing.
Well, yeah, he could.
And honestly, he could do that. I mean, if it works for Joe Biden in his fucking basement, it will work for Trump.
You know, that's a good point. I didn't consider that.
Because remember, the last 6 months of the campaign for Biden was, when he was running for president for in 2020, the last 6 months he was in his basement running. Okay, he didn't actually go anywhere. So it's not like Trump can't do the same thing on, anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
I don't know, man. It's a whole lot of fucking dirty pool by these people.
Honestly, I think all this crap that the Democrats are doing to him to try and smear him and all that is only going to get the people who are pissed off at Democrats to double down.
I think that's highly likely.
Yeah, it's just going to galvanize his supporter base more.
Anyone who's anyone who's pissed off at the Democratic Party, it doesn't matter whether they're independents, they're Republicans, Green Party, it doesn't matter what their political affiliation is. Anyone who's not a socialist Democrat is probably going to vote for Trump at this point because of how bad things have got. And if they don't, and if they vote for Biden for another 4 years, well, shit's gonna get real.
Oh, it's definitely gonna get real. You can bet.
And that's all I can say on that, because I don't want to be one who prophesizes a civil war.
Well, I'm not prophesizing civil war just yet, but I've said it on streams before. If Biden gets back in, and especially if they gain control of the House, hold control of the Senate, the composition of the Supreme Court within at least a year or so is going to flip. And all these gun cases that have been held up for so long are going to get rushed into that court. And then we ain't getting nothing good.
Yeah. Well,
from then on.
The minute they get their way to just take away everything is the minute people will probably go and rebel. Oh,
it's gonna be
because it'll be things. Because honestly, if they outlaw everything like they're trying to, at that point, convert your gun into a machine gun. At that point, go ahead and make your illegal silencer. At that point, get ready for war because it's coming to your door.
Way ahead.
If that freaking, and we're going to get to it after we get
I hate
a little
to
bit
say
through
it.
this. But
I hate to say it like that, Coop. And I'm sorry for saying it on air, but it's just like
it's the truth.
We keep getting things taken away. We try and get things back, step by step, but it comes to a point to where the getting stuff back is diminishing returns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and all you're doing is stating a fact, because if they get half their shit through to where that AR or that AR or that
I'll have
AR,
to turn in my entire collection.
Yeah. If all that gets basically treated as machine guns, and it's 10 years for those guns that I have legally, if it's going to be 10 years for them for having a legal gun, then why not convert everything? Go full rock and roll, baby. It's the same felony.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything violent or illegal.
No.
I'm just saying our founders
writing off the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Our founders told us what is the best way to resist tyranny. Resist the first approaches a tyranny. Resist first.
Yes.
Shout out to the 10th Amendment Center. Anyway.
Yes.
Great channel.
And for those of you who aren't following the 10th Amendment Center, what are you doing with your life?
Right.
Matter of fact, hold on. We'll throw them in the chat real quick because I should have them pretty quick.
And anyone out there watching, you can disagree with me all you want. That's fine. That only ensures that we have a conversation about it because I think we need to at this point.
There's a whole lot of conversations.
I don't mind having a conversation and hearing an opposing view or a different point of view because honestly, at this point, if we can't converse with each other at some level, then what's the point?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I always say is, do you want to be free or do you want to be a slave? That's the only common ground any American should need.
And there's the 10th Amendment Center in the chat. Your name, what's up, brother? And Vanessa Kitty, my sister. How's it going?
The problem is, remember when the country was founded? They say, well, it was only like 3% of the country actually rebelled and fought.
Yep. Something like
that. And you have to ask yourself, how many percent of the country were loyalists that didn't fight?
There was a large portion of our population that were absolute loyalists. Loyalists at that point.
Loyalists that didn't want to break away from England.
Yeah, and there was a large portion of our population that wanted to stay under a monarchy.
Yeah, but when the country changed, they had to be given the choice: either you leave the country or you stay and just deal with it. And the problem is, a lot of them decided to stay and deal with it, then go back to England.
Yeah, well, you ain't wrong about that.
True.
Zany, what's up, my brother? Flying Rich is checking in. How's it going, brother man? And someone else.
Well, you know what that means. Flying Rich is trying to crash
what's up, Giz? Huh?
Rich is trying to crash our stream.
No, we'll wait to bring him on until we go to Rumble. That way, if he does anything crazy, because we are going to go to Rumble in just a little bit. We're going to watch this and then we're going to bounce to Rumble because I want to get to this ghost gun horse shit. But yeah, and then if Rich wants to hit the link and come in, then he can't sync the channel.
I just want to read a comment from Vanessa Kitty real quick. She says felons can't vote in many states. That's correct. My home state is one of those states, and the fact of the matter is, that's one of the biggest things that we need to get overturned. How is it that we have people who are forced at one point to obey laws that they can't even have a say-so in? It's just like the Second Amendment.
And it very much is like the Second Amendment. If you are the only time for me, you shouldn't have your rights, or at least a lot of your rights, is when you are in the custody of the state.
Agreed.
If you are not in the custody of the state, you should have your voting rights, gun rights, all that back.
Right.
And then people say, well, what about this child? And what about this person? I don't think they should be out of prison in the first place.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, I think they should have been shot in the face a long time ago. So we ain't got to worry about them.
If they haven't been rehabilitated, and if they are a danger to themselves or anyone else, why are they being released in the first place?
Yes. If you are safe enough to be on the street, you should have your rights. 100% all day long. It ain't even a question. So what about this game? I don't care. I do not care. And if he fires his gun and he hurts an innocent person, guess where his ass should be and guess where he should stay for a very, very long time? Prison. If he goes out and murders this innocent person, guess what he should get? Fucking killed. So he can't do it again.
You know,
Florida passing the stuff with child molesters and that being death penalty. Damn right. Let's get that rolling. I'll crank the wood chipper up right now.
The wood chipper.
Go to Salty Cracker and get a wood chipper operator freaking mug. And let's roll it. But
there you go. You know, the funniest bit about that is though, when we have the people who the majority of individuals don't want to own firearms are the people who simply cannot be quote unquote rehabilitated because they don't care. They want to take from people because it's the easiest route for them, right?
Yeah.
And,
well, that's the same. That's the same way with the Democrats. It's easier to take than make it yourself.
I've said it plenty of times. These Democrats aren't against violence and they are not against firearms. They just want to subcontract out their violence to the state.
Yep.
Because they are completely okay with you getting shot in the face in your own home for never hurting a single soul or getting thrown in prison, like we're going to get to in a little bit, for never hurting another living soul. They're completely fine with the state using all of their guns to take your liberty or take your life. They just want to subcontract it out to somebody else.
As long as it's state violence, they're perfectly fine with it.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
I say, these quote unquote libertarians or quote unquote Republicans nowadays, they're perfectly fine with totalitarian government as long as it's not pointed at them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're the ones that are in control, or their people are in control, they're completely fine with it.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, there are certain lines that I draw. One of them is abortion. If you kill a baby in the womb, that is a baby. It's not going to turn into a toaster. If it's a viable pregnancy, it is going to ultimately be the human being outside of the womb. It is still a human being in the womb. You just subcontracted your murder out to a doctor.
Exactly.
When it comes to the Second Amendment, as long as I don't wrongfully deprive someone else of life, liberty, or property with my guns, the government should have zero say-so in what I do. If people, well, you're regulating her body. No, she can regulate her own body simply by not being a hoe. Period.
Thank you. And let's call abortion what it is: infanticide.
It is absolutely. If in some states, not in all states, California and some others have changed it, but if I walked up and shot a pregnant woman in the chest or in the belly and killed her child, and say I killed both of them, I'm going to get charged with 2 murders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get charged with killing the child. I'm going to get charged killing the mother. Some states, like I said, have changed that. If I just walked up and field goal punted some chick in the stomach and she lost her child, I'm going to get charged with murder. Why is that any different just because the mother goes, hey, kick me in the stomach?
It's not.
There is still an innocent life. And understand, kids, I'm not what you call pro-life. I am pro-innocent life. So I am completely for shooting someone in the face if they deserve it and putting them down a hole. That doesn't bother me one bit. It bothers me when innocents get killed.
Agreed.
So, and that's an argument that's been on X plenty of times. So, ye pro-lifers, no, bitch. Understand, I am not pro-life. I am pro-innocent life. There's a difference. That dude that went out there and raped women, murdered women, I drop his ass off a bridge like a fucking Wile E. Coyote anvil. I do not care.
Yeah,
I'll drop it for you. Just show me. But the innocents that get killed, that's what pisses me off. That's where I draw the line. If you have never deprived someone else of life, liberty, or property, and you get killed, that pisses me off. Whether it's the state that does it, whether it's a doctor that does it, you name it. And I don't understand why this is such a hard fucking concept for people. I don't. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old and I'm more than a little retarded, but simple things are simple.
You said it.
Hey, dude, I freely admit it, man. Come on.
Yep. You know that short bus well.
Well, the problem is that we have people like Tucker Carlson who
that
get on air and talk about our quote unquote ruling class. So too many people don't understand that our congressmen, our police, our government being quote unquote public servants necessarily excludes them from being rulers.
Well,
execute our will, which is to defend our rights, not to make laws to enforce against us.
Well, here's the deal with that, Sam, because that's the way it should be. The way it works in reality, much like Tony Gonzalez considers himself your ruler. He doesn't consider himself your rep.
Correct.
And that's where we run into with a lot of these big establishment politicians. That's what pisses me off so much about, Brandon. I'm kind of good and bad about Brandon not making it in office. I'm good with it because it's less headache on him and he can get back to doing what he's been doing, which is great content, building guns, all that.
Absolutely.
It pisses me off a little bit because Brandon was the obviously better choice, but the state's going to protect the state. It has its own immune system. If someone comes in and tries to shake things up, they get shut down.
Yep.
Well, you could say this. Brandon's finally finished two things.
Yeah, the AK-50 and that race.
Yeah.
And I desperately want me an AK-50.
I know, me too, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm no offense, guys, but I've been over the AK-50, but I know people are excited about it. But yeah, he finished the race. He finished the race and he finished the AK-50. So he's actually got two things under his belt now.
I really, at this point, I've been looking forward to the AK-50 for so long. I don't care whether it's a turd. I want one.
Yeah.
Just
Agreed.
because.
Agreed.
All right,
it's an AK, man.
The dude has gone through so much shit to get that gun built. And he had so many people tell him he'd never get it done. And you can't do this and you can't do that. I think the first time I heard Brandon Herrera, let me see, I got my gun rights back at 18. So it was right around 18.
I heard about him before then, man.
The first time I heard about it was 18. He was on a podcast called Mead Fueled Rants. Tufu, the dude who hangs out or does a lot of shit with Jim Fuller, and a couple other guys were running that podcast, and I was really getting into AKs. I bought one, then I started to build one, and just started looking at builders and just going down the rabbit hole. And then here's this dude pops up. Well, I've got a plan to build a 50 caliber AK. Huh? What? When can we have that? I want one. And it's cool as shit to see him get that design as far as he's gotten it.
Absolutely.
Especially going, and the progression of it was damn near like some of the progression with AKs, where you went from a milled receiver to a stamp receiver, and then kind of bounced back and forth, and ended up with a stamp receiver. It's really cool. I become a serious nerd for shit like that. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna bounce to the rumbles, and then we're gonna actually handle some guns.
Let me just say this real quick.
Yeah, man.
If I'll give you this, because he is not a career politician, and because of his work with the AKs and his content and who he is, I don't vote. But if I could, I would definitely cast my vote for Herrera.
Oh, I would have in a hurry.
Absolutely.
I do vote because regardless of what you believe, your vote does matter. You may not always get the candidate you want, but your vote does matter.
And see that's funny as shit, because One, you got a dude who doesn't vote. You got a dude who does vote. And you got a dude who used to vote. Because used to, I was all about it. You can go look back at my channel and you can see 2020 and shit like that, me advocating for voting. After I saw what happened in 2020, I was done with it.
Yeah.
And it was
I'm doubling down, because if we don't go out there and vote because you decided to stop voting, your vote could be the extra vote that the Republicans or the side that you decide you'd rather see win. That one vote could mean everything.
To a point it could. And let's just play the wife's call, man. I'm going to take this call real quick.
I get it. Sometimes voting locally is
social media wing, and it's really a fascinating fight.
Yeah, and it is really just dominated the discussion inside the House Republican Conference. I asked a bunch of members last week about this runoff.
No, they haven't. Oh, I like this commercial.
What do you think Tony Gonzalez is insulted against you?
Oh, don't ask Matt Gaetz.
I think that our primaries are best decided on the issues. Tony Gonzalez called the tough border protections that we were looking for unchristian.
People like Matt go far beyond the pale and act in such a disgusting way that now they're attacking members because they have nothing better to do.
Does Gonzalez deserve to be reelected?
He's made some comments that I don't think were particularly helpful.
If Brandon Herrera beats Tony Gonzalez next week, what would be the implications be for the House GOP?
I don't see him being a productive member of Congress, and it'd be an agent of chaos.
My voters sent me up here to try and change the way this town works, and I don't think we're going to change it with guys like Tony.
Mario, you cover the White House. How do they enjoy? They must enjoy seeing this Republican infighting play out pretty much all year, last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because the White House's primary message is essentially that they can govern, right? That they're the responsible adults in the room, and thus they should have control of all three chambers as well. Also, the fact is, you got some of the fighting between Democrats, right? The progressive wing of the Democratic Party versus the centrist wing, which has been on display the last few months as well, particularly along some of the protests. So yes, they enjoy looking at this and saying, hey, look at this chaos that has been wrought within the GOP.
And Trump, of course, is trying to tamp a lot of this down. He is staying out of this primary. He's getting involved in some other ones as well. I should note that Bob Good, the Virginia Republican who he was Gonzalez called a scumbag. I asked him to comment. He called Gonzalez back a rhino established moderate. So there you go. That's the level of back and forth. But the debate is really over tactics, right? The GOP has been involved in this ongoing feud about compromise versus not compromise and how to govern in a divided Washington.
Well, look, Republican primaries are nothing new. Republican on Republican violence is nothing new. We've been seeing these, right-wing Republican challenges play out in primaries for more than a decade, if not longer. What's really remarkable now and what is different is the degree to which it is all downstream from these personal conflicts within the House Republican caucus. This is all downstream from the ousting of Kevin McCarthy and his difficulty becoming speaker in the first place by that small hardcore of Matt Gaetz-led right-wingers. They're the ones who are involved in all of these primaries, and they're going after their fellow members. In some cases, in the same delegation, it's very personal. They're trying to kick each other out of Congress as part of, again, the aftermath of these personal conflicts that they're having within the Capitol. So it's less about policy or tactics or anything else. It's just the personal conflicts between these men who despise each other in the House Republican Conference.
And how do they? The reason why it's also important. How do you work with a guy who you're sitting next to, who's trying to knock you out of your seat?
They've found their ways to the Democratic Conference from time to time, but the personal issues have made it worse. This is going beyond that, though. In Texas, the same day, the Speaker of the House has an opponent who Donald Trump endorsed. And both of these people, I should say, the Texas Republican Party, we're talking about the convention, one of the rules they're talking about is if you've been censured, you can't run as a Republican in the next election. That would knock out Tony Gonzalez. No matter what happens in here, it would knock out the Speaker of the House in Texas. The Minnesota Republican Party just nominated Royce West for Senate. He still needs to win a primary. But really, everywhere, even if you've not crossed Donald Trump, you've not crossed Matt Gaetz, this attitude is only fixable if you're loaded on Trump. You know from the Good race, Good's problem is that he endorsed Ron DeSantis for president.
Yes.
Had he said all the same stuff and endorsed Donald Trump, this wouldn't be happening.
Yes. At the end of the day, one thing matters: Donald Trump. So we'll see if it matters for the Republican primaries. We'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Do you see how they were how their eyes were twitching when they had to say that? If you didn't see that at the last few seconds,
national attention
funny.
for what it could mean for the future of the Republican Party and for other incumbents facing far-right challengers. Laura Barone Lopez has more.
That's right, Amna. Like past recent election cycles, more extreme far-right candidates are running up and down the ballot this year. In Texas, incumbent Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who has worked across the aisle on a number of issues, faced such a challenge. Last night, Gonzalez narrowly staved off the far-right YouTube personality Brandon Herrera, receiving 50.7% of the vote to Herrera's 49.3%. To discuss what these growing divides mean for the future of the Republican Party, I'm joined by former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh. Congressman, thanks so much for being here.
Good to be with you.
Brandon Herrera forced Congressman Gonzalez into this runoff and was attacking Congressman Gonzalez specifically for voting for bipartisan bills on gun safety, on gay marriage, and Congressman Gonzalez barely won by 407 votes. What's your big takeaway from this?
It was a unique race because without the issue of immigration, which is the biggest issue down there, Gonzalez would have lost. I mean, he barely won against a far-right, gun-loving kook who would have beaten him if that was the only issue. But I think immigration and I think Abbott's endorsement of Gonzalez really helped push him
the Texas
over.
governor. Abbott.
Yes.
Gonzalez called himself a Trump supporter, said that he supports the former president, but he is someone who appears willing to work with Democrats and work across the aisle. Yes, he won, but do you think that there is a future in the Republican Party for more centrist, moderate, bipartisan Republicans?
No. Well, you have to be a Trump supporter. And even Gonzalez, who is thought of as more of a centrist Republican, he's all in with Trump, and he got down on his knees and said the greatest things about Trump during this campaign to help him win. So you have to be that, or there's no room in the party. But no, the base of the party still wants the most extreme MAGA voices.
And so if you don't support Trump, you could lose in a primary. And I mean, you're someone who rode in on the Tea Party wave. Do you feel as though you or other Tea Party candidates push the party down this pathway at all?
Oh, absolutely. We helped lead to Trump. I've said this often. The base of my former party is radicalized. We helped to radicalize them. And that's a scary thing. But in those days, it was where you stood on the issues. That made you either a rhino or a far-right Republican. Now, it's all about where do you stand on Trump. And if you oppose Trump, like Joe Walsh or Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger, you have no future in the party.
So you're saying in your day it was more about policy?
It was all about policy. You were a crazy Tea Party conservative or an establishment Republican, but that was where you stood on issues like guns and immigration.
Oh, yeah. This dude, they brought him in. I remember this dude. I remember him during the Tea Party stuff. I wasn't paying as much attention as I am now. But he has been an absolute fucking shitbag forever. And especially with Trump, this dude was all blah, blah. Trump said something, he had to post something on X or Twitter, whatever. Yeah, you want to talk about swamp critter? There you go.
No, he's not a swamp critter. He's that virus and bacteria that's in the swamp.
Yeah, well, he's probably about like a yeast infection on an alligator, to be honest. But hey, who's taking score?
You are, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. Chambered, what's up, my brother? How's it going?
Yeah, he's 4-0.
We're gonna get done with this one, and then I'm killing YouTube. We're moving to Rumble where I can handle some guns, and then we're gonna go to the ghost gun shit.
Oh boy.
And yeah. If you ain't like this one so far, oh my fucking god, this next one's gonna get rough. Just warning you, go ahead and load up on the Motrin now.
I want to ask you also about some other Republican candidates. One in Minnesota, Royce White. He hasn't won the GOP primary for the U.S. Senate there, but he has been endorsed by the state Republican Party. He's appeared next to conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, and he also appeared with Trump's former chief strategist Steve Bannon.
Okay, I can't let that one slide for more than just a second. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Does Alex Jones convey his points in the most effectual way? No. Was Alex Jones right about the gay frogs? Yes. So.
Oh, well, I don't want them putting chemicals in the water that makes the frogs gay.
Yes.
That's all I got.
I'm sorry. I just had to throw that little point out there.
And then something about goblins, but that's it.
I need to go get a roll of tinfoil and just go ahead and put the hat on. Fucking don't doubt me. I will. Do I have any tinfoil? I have to look.
And
I have any
when he was talking to him, he criticized women.
Let's just be frank. Women have become too mouthy. As the black man in the room, I'll say that.
He's not the only GOP candidate who has made direct.
Can anybody in this chat for a second say homeboy was wrong?
No.
I'm married to a redhead.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's that. Fuck me running. I didn't hear that part the other day when I heard this clip.
Derogatory comments about women. There's also the North Carolina GOP gubernatorial candidate, Mark Robinson, who
love
has
him.
Cast doubt or mocked.
Great dude.
Dude, they so took this guy's fucking quote out of context, which they do all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the whole thing. Going back when women.
This dude is gold. If you have not seen his speech when he was going up against his city's council,
yes,
you should go watch it because this dude knocked it out of the fucking park.
That is really what put him on the stage was that initial.
And then he went into politics and he got elected. What was it? Deputy governor,
lieutenant governor.
Yep. I always get mixed up on the governor's second.
Well, who is this guy? I've never seen him before.
It's Mark Robinson. He's the lieutenant governor of North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Look up Mark Robinson's speech on YouTube, and you'll find him giving his city's council a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2016. What for?
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
It might be further back. I think it was 2016, but it might be further back.
It could be. I think it might have been 16. But you're right. It could be further back. But yeah, that's when he first really his name started popping out.
His city council wanted to try and ban guns and whatnot, and he was having none of it. None of it.
Not a little bit of it. But yeah, he's in there. Then the context and the comment they're talking about right there. I went back and listened to the whole speech that he gave, and they completely take the shit out of context, of course, and completely lie about the whole thing, of course.
And when he wants to give a rousing speech, he is good at giving a rousing speech.
Oh yeah, he can, dude. He is not the monotone drone on speaker.
Accusations from women during the Me Too movement has said that he embraces titles like male chauvinist pig, according to the 1950s report. Is misogyny becoming a pattern amongst GOP candidates?
Yes, just like bigotry and
you have to realize the source, PBS.
I know
LGBT.
They're publicly funded by source.
It's cruelty. Trump is cruel, and cruelty right now sells in the party. This stuff works. The cruel, mean things that these Republican candidates will say about women or people.
Okay. This dude would curl up into the fetal position and cry if he watched Kindergarten Cops and he saw the dude the little kid stand up and said, boys have penises and girls have vaginas.
No,
this Adam
dude would
Kinzinger
crawl up in a
before
ball
Adam
and
Kinzinger was
cry
a thing.
if he had to debate Donald Trump.
Oh, dude, Donald Trump would smash this dude. Hell, give
And
me
then
a shot at it.
Donald Trump would smash him literally. You know, he would obliterate him in a speech, and then he would go up to him and slap him in the face.
Dude, I would so pay to see that. That's really
what Trump
needs to
would
be a
do.
pay-per-view thing. It really does.
Yes, and Trump would do it on pay-per-view.
He could go full on what was it, WWE or WWF back then?
It I think it was WWE back then.
Yeah, I think it already switched to WWE.
Yeah.
When Trump did his stuff on freaking
of color, or
wrestling
again,
and whatever.
transgender Americans right now in the party that works and that sells. And that's pretty darn sad.
It also, when we're talking about the former president Donald Trump, there's Republican Congressman Bob Good of Virginia. He's the chair of the Hard Right Freedom Caucus. He's facing a challenge from the right in John McGuire, a state senator who attended the Stop the Steal January 6th rally. And, you know, Bob Good himself voted to overturn the election results in 2020.
Now remember, this was all in the context of Brandon Herrera running to try to unseat Tony, because Tony's a complete jellyfish piece of shit. And they have to trash anybody who isn't this center Democrat adjacent person.
But still, Donald Trump endorsed his challenger. Does this ultimately just come down to loyalty?
Well, with Trump, this is, again, a total ego play. A Good supported DeSantis in the presidential primary initially. That really pissed off Trump. So Trump, but Good is, as you said, he's a crazy far-right Marjorie Taylor Greene Republican who Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, a number of conservatives have endorsed. So I don't think the Trump endorsement in this one matters that much.
But is the ultimate litmus test come down to loyalty and election denialism?
Completely. The harder you embrace Donald Trump, the better your future in the party. The harder you deny.
What'd you say, brother?
I just said, did you notice how that hard right freedom party, whatever he just said, you notice how they always try to equate people who want freedom with hard right or extremism?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if these people want to see extreme, sit them down in a room with me for just a little bit. I'd have this dude shitting his fucking Pampers within the first couple of seconds.
I got one better. Send them to Ukraine to fight Russia.
That would work, dude. Yeah, that would work.
They will see how extreme and how much Russia is a threat.
Oh,
It's to underestimate Russia.
No.
Russia's it was it's been held.
Coop, you and me are old enough to remember the Cold War. I miss the Cold War because at least then we were complaining about communists instead of complaining about, you know, what fucking gender you are.
Thank you.
Or you know, what your fucking pronouns
are.
I identify as an Abrams A1.
Identify as a attack helicopter.
I identify as an AH-64 Apache attack helicopter.
Yeah. It's just so fucking ridiculous, man. This guy was and understand, he got in under the guise of the Tea Party, which was basically a reform movement, and turned out to be nothing but an actual deep state cuck.
A reform movement that fizzled out, you know, by the next election.
Pretty much.
That Joe Biden won the 2020 election, the better you are in the party right now. And that's not changing anytime soon.
Okay. Let's stop that share for a second. And guys, let me do this. Where's that? Let me find the right tab. Let me copy this over, because we are going to move to Rumble so I can handle some guns in real time. And we're going to have a discussion on ghost guns because of, where's it at? This. Hold on, I'll share this real fast off of X, and we'll. we're going to have a conversation, kids, to say the least.
Oh boy.
So, yes, you can have mac and cheese. Give me a second, and I'll cook you some mac and cheese. Okay. I'm sorry. My 4-year-old wants mac and cheese, and apparently,
M. Gabriel says he's an attack helicopter too.
Yes.
I knew he was.
I just have really short rotors. Fuck y'all. All y'all got that shit. I was gonna say my missiles are kind of long or kind of short. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
yes,
waiting on the M9 parts kit right now. I got my grubs
nice.
on one. I'm just waiting for it to arrive.
I'm waiting on a set me kit to roll in right now. I got to order the barrel in a little bit. But who was it? It's Print Shoot Repeat posted this, and watch, it'll go crazy and I'll lose everything. Yep, it's going to. Oh God, I'll have to get into that later too. The damn K through 12 shooting database, which is about like the gun violence archive. They're another one that'll just facts and logic don't matter to these people whatsoever. I actually get this guy's newsletter. Yeah, I'll cook you some mac and cheese in a second. Give me a sec. Little runt. Oh yeah, well I lost it. But anyway, Print Shoot Repeat posted this. And this is from up in Queens, New York. This is apparently the DA and the person that runs her task force on ghost guns. And I was going to skip the front of it, but I'm going to let that pain play for a second so I can fix my kid a thing of mac and cheese. Yeah, I should be done by the time that first little bit plays. And then we're going to get into the whole ghost gun thing. So did I post it? Yeah. The Rumble is posted in the chat, kids, because we're fixing to move over there. I am fixing to kill YouTube because I'm going to be handling guns in real time. And, well,
he doesn't want to get popped.
Bitches.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten popped for just showing a picture of me holding a 3D printed firearm.
Yes. Hell, Dark got popped for showing a picture of a 3D printed gun next to a deer.
And they popped me because my hand in the picture was holding the 3D printed firearm, but I was showing a picture. That's how bad it is on YouTube.
It's I'll say this before we get off YouTube. YouTube, you bunch of cuck sons of bitches. I'm never going to get monetized. But you can shut my stream down within seconds of me showing a firearm, but you can't find the kitty stuff on your platform.
Yeah. Well,
all I have to tell me where your priorities are.
All I have to say on YouTube is I have to quote my good friend Matt, never enough ammo. YouTube,
no.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, let's all say that real fast because I'm fixing to remove YouTube from this stream. And yeah, YouTube, yeah, fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, YouTube.
There we go. We're out. We're going to Rumble, kids.
Take care, Coops.